Yo, yo. Let's see. Let's see. What am I changing this to now? While I wait for people to trickle in. Let's see. What do I do on this Substack? I'm building my own mental models and sharing them with you. Hold on. YouTube. Hey, what's going on,
Wash your
guys?
mouth on Sunday.
What's going on, guys? Uh, if you're watching, just I know that my lighting is terrible. Leave a comment down below. I got a phone call, so I'm taking this phone call real quick. But yo, Raymond, long time no see, man. How you been? I have terrible lighting right now. Yo, it's been forever, man. What you been up to? I'm coming on here to rant today. I'm just waiting for people to trickle in. I have some thoughts and some ideas. Just focusing on work. What you doing on work now? Like what you doing? For, your insurance agency. Okay, dope, man. Dope. Um, how's that going? Share my worldview with the world. Hey, that's what's up. I could have sworn. I could have sworn last time we spoke, you were talking about something else, but I might have been confusing it for the insurance agency. Yeah, you want to use SEO to grow your your business because I feel like it was different before. Is this the same goal that you had before? I feel like this is a little bit different. Okay, cool. Um, today I'm actually simultaneously doing a couple of things. Uh, hold on. I'll talk about like my thought process on some stuff and yeah, I remember because I remember you telling me like you bought my course. I think you bought my course for um learning how to do it for yourself, but I remember you saying you want to do like a digital marketing agency. Yeah, I could have sworn that's what you told me last time. All right, so I want to share with you guys, the three viewers who are watching, because I haven't gone live in a long time, what I'm doing and what I've been struggling with, because I know everybody comes on social media and they use it as their highlight reel. So as you guys can see, I've been on and off with content. I stopped creating content, then I started creating content, then I stopped, and then I started. And it's been an ongoing cycle. And that is because I've been trying to figure out what exactly I want to create content about. And I thought I landed on something because life for me has been so different these past couple years. Um, it's been different because, as everyone knows, if you've been following me for a while, I got into the digital marketing space years ago. And I first, I've been doing this for like 10 years now. And I first started doing this because I wanted to make more money. That's what we all get into this stuff for, to make more money. And somewhere along the line, I started to realize that the more money I was making, the I wasn't necessarily happy. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't happy either. I just felt neutral. And I started to feel bored. Like I started to get super bored and I started to realize that there was no amount of money that I could make that would make me feel exhilarated, right? So it's not really about money. Um, Even if I were to become a multimillionaire, that wouldn't help me. So I started to like do all these different things and start to ask myself like, what do I really want to do? Now that I have like the space to think about what I want to do, and even with the space to think about what I want to do, there's still challenges. You know, there's still ups and downs. There's still um lots of adversity, and there's lots of wins. There's lots of losses, right? As well. And and then losing my nephew. My nephew was murdered. That didn't make it any better. So really was trying to figure out, what do I want to do? At least with content, not necessarily business. Or not just content, but like what was something that would make me again feel that feeling that I might be looking for. And it's not really a feeling per se, because it took a lot of work to come to this conclusion. Um, and I realized that for me, you know, I look at all of the types of, information that I consume online, all the things that I'm really interested in, the things that I do in in life, and it all boils down to just becoming a better version of myself, right? That's everything. I mean, that's why I got into digital marketing. If we were to just sum everything up, it was just, because I want to become a better version of myself. And so, this is like there's so many ways to become a better version of yourself, as you guys can see. If you look at like my super old videos and you look at my videos from last year, um, I had started to lose like a whole bunch of weight from going to the gym all the time. I was actually getting pretty muscular. And then I cut back on going to the gym and now I'm starting to gain weight again, but I'm about to start going back again. I mean, I go back 3 times a week, but I'm not working out like how I was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I was going to the gym. I was walking 6 hours a day. I was going to the gym every day, and I was going to MMA every day, and I was also going to boxing every day too. So I was doing like a lot of like physical activity, cycling, going on 60-mile bike rides, sometimes even longer, 80 miles. Um, I was doing a lot, changed my whole diet. I stopped eating carbs like completely. Um, like I wasn't eating bread. I honestly cut sugar out my diet. I got into a relationship. I did a whole bunch of different things, man, in the past couple years. I'm not in a relationship anymore, but I talking to someone new and that's been going pretty good too. So I did a whole bunch of different things because I was like, okay, I need to try different stuff. And and I did like the whole, when I was younger, when you guys first started watching me, I was um very particular about certain things. So I didn't party, I didn't, drink, I didn't do things like that. I was just focused on my goals. That was it. Like 100% tunnel focused on, tunnel vision on everything that I wanted to accomplish. And for the most part, I would say that I've accomplished more than what I wanted. Um, and that sent me down this rabbit hole of like, okay, now what do I want? And now I feel like I operate from a lens of having experienced most of the things that I personally wanted to experience. Now, there's other things that I want that I need, that could be beneficial for me to experience, but it's not necessarily the things that I wanted to experience or that I want. It's just like, okay, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, I don't care. You know what I mean? Um, and so I found myself gravitating towards a lot of different things recently, but there's been like three main things. I put up four fingers, but like three main things that I've been really enjoying. So number one, I would say is I've basically gone down the rabbit hole of pursuing new knowledge again. Like I'm basically acting as if it's digital marketing all over again. I never stopped learning, but I've actually been, going super hard on this. And I've been reading things about like epistemology and philosophy and religion and um just spiral dynamics and so many different like spiritual topics uh just because I'm seeking for the truth of life. And then I went from so I did that, and then I started writing a lot. um I used to hate writing. If you guys been following me for a while, I used to hate writing, and I still don't really like to write. I only write because writing helps me to um think better. It really helps. Like I think writing is one of the greatest skills that anybody can learn. If you want to learn how to articulate yourself, if you want to learn how to think better, if you want to really challenge yourself, if you want to learn new ideas, if you want to take in different concepts. I mean, just look at me years ago and then look at me now and compare how I used to articulate myself to how I articulate myself now. Watch my most recent video and watch my oldest one if I didn't take it down. Because I did put a lot of my videos on um what is it called? When you can hide it, but you can like if I was to give you guys I forgot what it's called. It's like archived. It's not archived, but you know what I'm talking about. So if you were to look at that, it's obviously I've made some progress. And then the last thing, so it's been like I guess pursuing interests, reading, writing, and I would say just I've been thinking a lot. And so I've been looking at a whole bunch of content and figuring out like of all the content, what do I gravitate towards the most? And the person that constantly pops up on my feed that I watch almost religiously at this point is a guy by the name of Dan Coe. I don't know if you guys know him, but Dan Coe. My only gripe with Dan Coe is that I felt like everything that he was doing was to get you like to basically sell you something, which I get it. Like he's trying to make money, but um I think what I really resonate about him is, before Dan Coe, I used to watch Sam Ovens a lot. So this has always been a thing. But Sam Ovens stopped creating content. Sam Ovens was actually my favorite YouTube channel to watch because he was basically very intellectual guy, and he was giving you a lot of mental models to change how you think about the world. And for him, it was in the lens of business. And I don't just care about business. I care about like changing your perception of reality in general. Because if you can understand how to think, you can understand how to solve problems, and you solve problems, you'll be able to do whatever you want in your life. Everything is just every single problem in this world is that it's a problem. And even as you make progress in life, you unlock new problems. Problems are never ending, but so is like solving problems. Any problem that exists in your life, you could point to someone else and say that that person solved it. Whether it's you want to lose weight, or you want to be a millionaire, or you want to cure depression, or whatever it is, there's someone out there that has been able to solve the problem that you're going through, right? And so they never stop. Like problems never stop. You just get to a higher pinnacle in life, or not pinnacle, but you just get to a higher level of life and you just unlock new problems. It's just like playing a video game. So for me, I have like groups of people that I speak to all the time that we have like these types of conversations with. Yo, Don, we have these types of conversations, and we talk about all of this uh kinds of stuff. And sometimes I want to bring it to YouTube, um, bring it to YouTube in a way that's beneficial for people. I think like the greatest skills right now, if we're looking at, because I know everybody wants to know, like, okay, what's the and the top. This is off topic. I'm gonna get into the topic in a second, but like, well, I'll just get into the topic right now. So I created this video called "Niching Down is Stupid" because I've been going through an issue of trying to figure out what type of content, what types of content I want to make, right? And I've been going through this issue because I've been saying to myself, like, I need to provide value to people. And so if I keep changing topics, there's not going to be a recurring theme on my channel. Therefore, people are not going to want to watch because nobody's going to know what to expect. And so this is the common advice that people give you on YouTube and so on and so forth. Um, and this is also a marketing thing, right? Like, you pick a niche, you stick with the niche so people can get used to you and you can grow. However, the way that I look at things now is a little bit different. Um, I don't really care too much about the niche. I think niching down is stupid because, in the context of if you're growing like a marketing or insurance agency, like what you're doing, Ramont, that's a little bit different, because that basically treats your agency like a product. It exists to solve one specific problem. So when you're building a company brand, you can stick to that specific niche and hit on all the pain points that your target audience has. When you are trying to build a personal brand, it is way different because a personal brand has to be personal. And for it to be personal, you have to introduce all of your interests, right? And so as human beings, we're disjointed. We don't just do one thing. We're multifaceted. We are interested in a multitude of different things, right? And so because of that, that whole idea of niching down becomes stupid. And at least to me. And I think ultimately, when you start trying to niche down, what you do, especially as a personal brand, yo, yo, what's going on, bro? How you been? Haven't seen you in a minute, Ricardo. Um, but I think like when you start to niche down, what happens is especially when you're trying to build a personal brand, is that you're just you're just basically fast tracking your way to a market that's already crowded or going to be crowded. So it's paradoxical in a sense because you're trying to stand out by taking advice that everyone tells you, which means you're fitting in, right? Like there's so many people in a niche on YouTube, right? So like when you force yourself to niche down, you're literally not like niching down is not escaping competition, at least as a personal brand. You escape competition through authenticity. So you just do you, create what you want to create. And after you create what you want to create, you get people interested in the stuff that you have to speak about. So if I'm talking about like marketing, for example, and then I start talking about, I don't know, spiral dynamics, human beings are curious creatures. The number one thing that separates us from anything is creativity. And in order to be creativity, you have to be in order to exude creativity, you have to also be curious, right? You have to be able to look into things. And we all have this. It's part of our nature. So somebody can become interested in something that you're interested in, right? And I think the future of personal branding isn't going to be about niching down. In fact, I think right now niching down is like the worst advice that you could ever give someone. I think it's about um I think right now what it's about is building worldviews, heuristics. Funny enough, I was gonna make a website called heuristic.com, but I'm not paying for that domain. It's not taken. But I think it's about making heuristics for people. What are the mental shortcuts from your worldview that you're developing in your world based off of lived experience that has helped you that you can now put online for someone else to receive value from, right? And you just create whatever you want. You just be an artist. And so the goal is to get people interested in you, your story, what you have to offer, what you're interested in, and so on and so forth. And then eventually, if you do it right, people will start to find what you have to say valuable and then want to support you, right? Or want your support. So that's why I think the whole concept of niching down is stupid. So I made a Substack called Purpose Canvas, where my goal was to niche down and to talk about purpose, and I found a way to like expand that from my lens. So I said, okay, everything is like, if you're not doing something with purpose, then you're wasting your time. So I need to talk about purpose in this expansive way and create this new worldview of purpose. And I had this whole idea and concept, and I started working on it. And the Substack is live, but I just literally changed the name to From Dre rather than Purpose Canvas. And the reason why I changed it to that is because of the same concept that I'm talking about right now. Everything that comes from me, I just want you guys to know that it's from me when I'm creating, right? I don't care. Like, if I'm talking about purpose, then I'm gonna talk about purpose. If I'm talking about neuroscience, then I'm gonna talk about neuroscience. If I'm talking about marketing, then I'm gonna talk about marketing. Like, if it resonates, it resonates. I think like when you do that, you build a group of people that are genuinely interested in what you have to say. So that's why I think this whole idea of niching down is stupid. I think even job roles are stupid. Like, if you ever think about the concept of a job role, you realize that, like, and you think about the concept of being commoditized, you realize that, like, when you go for a job role, you're just a commodity, right? Like, if the only way that you're searching for a job role is through applying on LinkedIn or something like that, you're basically setting yourself up for the conditions to fail. Now, why do I say that? Because the moment somebody says, I want a marketing manager, I'm going to pay them $90,000 a year, and I'm going to have them do this specific subset of tasks. This is what the conditions are, right? So it doesn't matter who fills that role as long as they know what to do. There's no differentiation. It's marketing manager. Whoever can fit the role of marketing manager to go into this job, they're going to get paid. Yes, you'll get paid 90K, but it's going to be harder for you to get paid more, because if you start asking for more, then what they're going to do is say, okay, we can get somebody else, fire you, and then go get somebody else who will fulfill the same role. So everybody's worried about AI right now, but AI is just happening. AI is just literally fast tracking what was happening anyways. Like, literally. You know what I mean? So it's like, when I think of the new worker and I think of like contributing value, I think years ago, when these fields were emerging and there wasn't a lot of people to fulfill the role, then you could justify or get what you want because there wasn't a lot of people who could do it to the level of what you would do. But now it's standardized, right? And that doesn't mean that that person is as good as you, but surely enough, there is someone out there who can fulfill that role in the same way that you could, right? And that's not to like discredit how good you are. It's just that there's other people that are good as well. Michael Jordan isn't the best basketball player. He's only the best basketball player that people know about. You know how many stories of other people that exist that probably were better than him, but we just never saw them play because they didn't have the opportunity? The job market is basically all of this opportunity, but it's commoditized opportunity, right? So that's why you see people like Kevin Indig, for example, in the SEO space, who he literally is an SEO, but he just created this value for himself as this organic growth consultant who's working with all of these different brands because he's not commoditized. So the market isn't looking at Kevin Indig as an SEO. They're looking at Kevin Indig as Kevin Indig and the value that Kevin Indig provides. And so they'll pay him for his specific value, right? That's why they'll pay him more. Like, if you're working in a marketing job or you're working in a job in general, technically you are already an entrepreneur. You just have the shittiest client. The client is your boss, right? Like, if you just think about it, like, what is your Your boss, your job is just paying you to fulfill a role. And they're paying you to fulfill this role because you are offering some sort of value. What is the value that you're offering? It's alleviating the pain of filling the space. Value is just about pain alleviation, right? So when you're alleviating the pain of filling the space and you're doing the job, that's the same thing as if you were to go get your own client. Th- We live in an at will society. They can fire you anytime that you want, anytime that they want. They could get mad and just fire you. It's not like this. Job security is not real. This shit is a story that's fed to you. You have this job security and benefits and blah 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 blah. Okay, maybe if you're not working inside of corporate America, like maybe I don't know, maybe if you work as like a government worker, right? I mean, maybe some people might still consider that corporate America, but maybe if you're a government worker, right? You're a train operator. You work for the train. Okay, cool. That could be different, right? Um, because I mean, even then, the same rules apply, but yeah, maybe that could be different, right? I could see where somebody could debate that, but there's no difference between you applying for a job and you getting clients. There's no difference. It's the same risk, literally. So now you have to ask yourself, what risk do you want to take on? And for me, the way that I look at this stuff is like right now, I'm just like I freelance, right? Like right now, I'm at my mom's house because somebody hit my car, and I'm having somebody fix it. And the guy that fixed it, he's gonna charge me cheaper than what it would be if I were to go through insurance. And I don't know who hit my car. They just hit it and they left it. It's like they didn't. Nobody. It's not on video or anything like that, and it was parked. So I don't know who hit my car, but it's not like crazy. It's just it's crazy to me because now I have to spend the money to fix it when I didn't do anything for this person to do that. But I say all this to say like so back on topic. So why is a niche stupid? Well, I just told you why. Niching down is the easiest way to commoditize yourself. And it's the easiest way for the market to put a price on you. If you're a marketing manager or SEO manager, whatever that salary is for that role, they can just put that on you because that's the label that you wear. They can't do that to someone like Kevin Indig, Jordan Peterson, Aleda Solis, and all these other like public figures because of how they market themselves, right? It's not even really marketing. It's just like they went deep in their line of expertise and found a way to differentiate themselves. So for me, what I want to do with this channel is I'm reinventing it again for like the umpteenth time. Um, and I'm just gonna literally create content about the things that I'm interested in. So I'm interested in like epistemology, science, like neuroscience specifically. I love neuroscience. I'm interested in mindset, mental models. I read a whole bunch of books on different things. Persuasion to me is a thing that I'm interested in. I even might think about making a course on persuasion because I think in the age of AI, the greatest skill that you can learn is how to persuade people. And I think you can really only learn persuasion through copywriting. I mean, you can learn persuasion through other methods, but like if you want to become a master persuader and you want to have the frameworks dialed in your head, you have to write, in my opinion. So I've been thinking about like making a community that's cheap, like 30 something dollars probably, and just breaking down um things like Gary Halbert's copy and stuff like that, like on a week to week basis, and just providing value in that way. Ricardo said, looking for a new role at a company that isn't highly toxic or employee monitoring software on their equipment. Yo, that's another thing. You have to deal with that. Like when you go into a lot of these companies, that's another issue, right? I don't think there's anything wrong at working at a job, by the way. Like, I don't. I mean, me as an independent freelancer, it's stressful. It's stressful. It is, especially when it comes to taxes too. So there are times where like even me, like I'm like, yo, you know what? Maybe I should get a job. But um the thing is that I know what I want to do like with content creation. It's just been trying to figure out how to niche down the idea, but I'm done doing that. I'm not niching down. I think it's stupid, honestly. I genuinely think that niching down is stupid. So I think like when people ask me like, "Yo, what do you do?" I'm gonna just say I'm the easiest way to describe myself probably would be to say that I'm a philosopher. I don't know. I'm a I think about thoughts and share them on the internet. So that's my gripe. I've been posting a lot on Twitter recently, but I love Twitter for that reason. I feel like with Twitter, um, at least to me, that whole concept of niching down doesn't really matter as long as your content is good. Honestly, I think if you give people like this is how I look at content these days. You gotta have a reason as to why someone should listen to you. And that reason doesn't have to be any crazy thing. Like it doesn't even have to be like a lot of the times I'll tell people I generated over $100 million in organic revenue, which is true. But it doesn't have to be that. It could be like I've been in SEO for the last 10 years, or in business for the last 10 years. Which by the way, I think everyone who's done SEO or is doing SEO or marketing shouldn't refer to themselves as a paid media strategist or a SEO guy. Like nobody should. That's the role that society has created for you. Outside of work, you should just call yourself a marketer. Somebody asks you what you do. I'm a full stack marketer. Like I understand marketing. I understand business. That's it. Because you're limiting yourself. Literally, you limit yourself when you say like, "Oh, I do this SEO. I do SEO, or I do paid ads." Like, and if somebody were to ask you for help on one of these things, you just literally like figure it out. You're a problem solver. The only thing I wouldn't play with is Facebook ads. Like I would not just somebody hired me to be like, oh, let's do Facebook. Like I want to do Facebook ads. I wouldn't just play with Facebook ads like that because if you don't understand, unless you understand psychology like a lot, I don't think you should just take somebody's money and play with Facebook ads because you have to spend a lot of money. Like people say you don't have to spend a lot of money, but I don't think that's true. I think on Facebook ads, you have to spend a lot of money to figure out what's going to be a winning ad. And then when Facebook learns what the winning ad is, then they make a lot of money back. But you got to have budget to play. And if you don't understand like how to make different creatives, if you don't understand how to speak to the audience, if you don't understand like the psychological aspect of it like deeply, then I don't think you should do that. With Google Ads or whatever, I think it's a lot easier unless somebody says like, "Oh, let's do like YouTube ads through Google." Then that might be a little bit more challenging, but yeah. So tell me what you guys have been dealing with, what you guys have been going through, where you guys at in your career or in your journey, and hopefully, if there's anything for me to answer, I'll try to answer some questions for you guys. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into ads, but specifically Facebook ads. Google ads is to me logic. Like it's not simple if you don't know what you're doing. I think like paid ad like Google ads is just so logical. It's like do do a whole like find keywords just like SEO and then pick a campaign bidding strategy and like make sure you have all your ducks in a row and then run it and then try to optimize for your CPAs and stuff like that. Like it's have different ad groups, have good messaging. It's very simple, and because it's search based, messaging doesn't even. It's like not even. It's important, but it's not that important on a Google ad. It's like, are you coming up number one? At the end of the day, people are gonna price shop. They're going to look at you and then look at somebody else and then look at somebody else. So your landing page is really the determining factor of if you're going to get the conversion. Honestly, the bidding on the keyword is just the visibility aspect. But if you're not hitting on the pain points of people, then it doesn't matter. So to a degree, you could say, the psychological aspect is important with Google Ads too, but it's still different because Google Ads is way more intent based. Like it's with Facebook, you're basically reaching to a you're basically sending an ad to a cold audience, and you have to convince them that your product is worth it. But there's so many benefits of Facebook ads when you know how to do it right, because you get that brand awareness. That's number one. Number two, a lot of like you don't when somebody sees a Facebook ad, it's not usually in competition with another one. You know what I mean? Like if you're seeing that ad, chances are you're going to see that ad. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah, it's a lot. Persuasive copy is important for for Google ads, but it's not that important. Like there's but so much space you have in a Google ad, number one, to make it super persuasive. Number two, the experience. People don't read, people skim. So, like when we're looking at users, for example, people are not reading your whole ad, honestly. The reason why Facebook ads is so good is because of the video component. More people tend to engage with that style of content these days. Like people don't want to just see um, like words. People don't have the brain capacity for that nowadays. Like videos are very, very important. So I think like the experience of how Google Ads is just completely outdated in my opinion. And then when people go to the landing page, that's your chance to get them to really convert because that's where you have control. It's not to say that copywriting doesn't matter for Google Ads. It's just that it's not as important. Like, okay, this sounds kind of crazy because copywriting is always important, but it's not like compared to Facebook ads, it's not the same. Because the person who's searching on Google already has intent. If I'm looking for a plumber on Google, all I need to see is that your copy says plumber. Like, that's it. I don't have to see any elaborate thing to convince me. I'm already convinced. I already have the problem. So my intent is way higher. But with Facebook, there is no intent. Like you have to convince me. Like I'm just scrolling to talk to my aunt and this ad just pops up. You have to get me interested. Like, yeah, so I think people can I think you can wing it with Google Ads, honestly. I think like you could give somebody Google Ads and be like, "Hey, go, if you're somebody who does SEO and you want to offer more services, I think you can wing it with Google Ads and figure it out." I don't think Google Ads is hard at all. It's like a very technical, it's not even that technical, honestly. I honestly think Google Ads is way easier than SEO. Um, I think Facebook ads is going to be more challenging because you have to actually figure out, damn, why didn't this hook work? Or why didn't this thing work? Or like, why didn't the user interact with this thing? And it's hard to gauge that performance. It's like trying to gauge the performance of a video. There's but so much you can do with the metrics that the video gives you on YouTube, for example. Like you can understand, okay, on average, people only watch this amount of the video, but then you have to figure out the why. And that's kind of hard. You can make a lot of inferences and you can guess and then you can test again, but YouTube is organic. Do you think you have to spend more money for Facebook ads to work versus Google ads? I think it's very industry specific, but overall, I would say I don't know if you have to spend more money for it to work, but I think you have to spend more money overall in general because for it to like yield the results that you want. That's why when people say Facebook ads is cheaper, I don't really subscribe to that because in my opinion, Facebook ads is literally just like you're training an algorithm. That's it. And you're training an algorithm with creative. So you're giving all of these different variations of creative that you have around a specific topic or product or whatever the case may be. And you're just feeding that. And so you're dumping that budget into testing this creative. And so like it takes it takes time, like it takes money to test the creative. And once Facebook understands who you're targeting, then you make so much money back because Facebook is just really good at that if you know how to optimize those ad sets or whatever. So I think like on the front end for testing, yes. But then once you get it to work, Facebook is so good at figuring out who you are trying to target that you make a lot of money back. So I think generally that's why people say Facebook ads is cheaper, but I don't think it's cheaper like at face value in the beginning, at least. I think it just depends too, because it's no way for me to answer that. That's kind of black and white. There's no way for me to give you an absolute answer on that question because it depends on the niche. It depends on the person who's running the ads. It depends on how good you are. It depends on the data that you have. It depends on so many different things. But generally speaking, I just think with Google Ads, it's just easier to me. Like you go on Google Ads, you do basic keyword research, you target these keywords or whatever the case may be. Yeah, Google's trying to move away from keywords, and I don't even know how that's going to work with how their platform is. But like you create these ad sets, you have these landing pages, and it's so simple. Like the work is really done in the landing page, honestly, at the landing page level. Like testing different landing pages, and unfortunately, a lot of the times, like if you go into a job working as a Google Ad specialist, you don't even get to try like to test that. When that's where the main skill is. The main skill is not in just the traffic, it's in converting the traffic. And I think like honestly, that's why SEOs struggle. Like to be honest, man, it's crazy how much my worldview on marketing is so different. I remember years ago, like 5 years ago, if you watch my podcast, the podcast that me and Cynthia had, I said that SEO wasn't marketing. I still believe that. And everybody was debating me on that. Like everybody was asking me, what do you mean by that? I posted it on LinkedIn before. People were debating me about that. It's not marketing. Like, it's not. When you marketing is about I think the thing that differentiates the 2 is intent. With marketing, you are creating something specific, and the reason why I start from the creation is because I think, like, marketing is basically an act of empathy. It's trying to solve problems for people. That's really all marketing is, and articulate the problems that you're solving for them. So even in the creation of the product itself, I think that's technically a part of marketing too, because you have to do research, right? And like to me, when you think about this, I mean, it's technically different, but it's technically the same. Um, what SEO is, SEO has always been about like what is Google ranking? Like even if you want to say, oh, it's about the user, it's really not. That's why when you would search for things on Google, you would see all of these pages that look the same because people would just reverse engineer what was working on Google. And that's the game that Google made you have to play. But it made you skip out on a lot of the foundational elements of marketing. And I started to learn this years ago because when I dive into a topic, I go really, really hard. The moment I started learning about like, how to differentiate um with your audience and like messaging and really getting into the psyche of who you're targeting beyond keyword research. I think that's the problem. Like a lot of SEO is focused on keyword research and keyword intent, you know? Um, and that's good from an SEO lens. But even all the things that you do, like if I'm optimizing a page and that page doesn't rank, how do we quantify that as marketing? It's not. Every single time I have to go back and mess with the keyword or change the title tag or do this other thing until it ranks, it's not marketing. Whereas if you compare that to Facebook ads, the moment you put your budget on the platform, like the moment you put your budget on the platform, you start getting visibility. If I had $20 a day, what would I start with? I probably wouldn't even do any of them. If I had $20 to invest a day, I wouldn't do any of them. Why would I do that? Like for me, that would just be like if I don't have this is also why I don't like really working with clients anymore. I wouldn't. Like I wouldn't test with that small of a budget. To me, that's not really a testing budget. I'm just gonna lose money. Like, I mean, it could work, but I would not do that personally. That's just me. Somebody might tell you something different, but I would not start off with a budget of $20 a day because I need, and that's also like subject, like that depends on so many different things. Like that depends on the industry that I'm going in. It depends on the time of the year. It depends on um who I'm competing against. Like everything is within an ad auction, right? So it just depends on the niche. It depends on the industry. It depends on the niche, man. I just know in every niche I would not do $20 a day. Why are you trying to test to see like how much you should spend for yourself or something? Um I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, if I'm not spending, this is just me personally. If you don't have, I would say, I don't even know. I don't even. To me, I would start with $4,000 a month. That's just me. You know, probably in every niche, um, and then see where it goes from there. But I'm starting with the intent, knowing that I might lose that money. It's an investment. I'm not going into it thinking that I'm going to make this work 100%. A lot of the times, you don't even. Most of the time, what's more important isn't even like, are you going to make a profit immediately? It's more about like the lifetime value of your customer. Because a lot of the times you'll run an ad, like for example, Ryan Stewart. I don't know if you know who he is, but he runs ads for law to get law firms. I believe he started off, if I'm not mistaken, at $5,000 a month or something like that, and it was or I think he was starting at $5,000 a month, and it was costing him $5,000 a month to acquire a customer, right? So you could do the math on that, and actually, it's costing him a little over $5,000 a month, so he wasn't even profitable. But the thing is that his average retainer is about $5,000 a month. So by month 2, he's laughing. Month 3, like, so it just depends. It depends on what your goals are, depends on how much people are gonna pay you, it depends on what your lifetime value is. Like, I hate to give this answer, but it's marketing is so complex. If I were you and I was thinking about spending $20 a day, I probably would just figure out how to do it organically. But that's just me. You could try it out and it might work for you. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Like, local SEO first makes sense. And then after you do local SEO, get some leads and then take the money that you're making and reinvest it back into the business. That's what I would do. And honestly, I wouldn't just confine myself to local SEO. Like, I would just go meet people. Honestly, like, let me give you guys some crazy shit. I was on Twitter in Twitter Spaces talking to a guy named Carlos, and he is a AGI researcher. And we started talking about different things because we were talking about this book called The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. It's a very, very complex book, but we had some similarities in our interest in the book. It went from me talking to him about that to me meeting, like, he invited me to this event in Philly. Funny enough, that I live in Philly, he doesn't, and it was a paid event to go to, and it costed about $200 for me to go. When I went to the event, I met all of these people from all over the world. Multiple people flew out from across the world to go to this event, right? What I um when I met all of these people, they were all talking about the same thing, but none of them worked in the field of what they were interested in. None of them. And I ended up meeting someone out here who is connected to Naval Ravikant. Isn't that crazy? Literally started on a Twitter space, went to a random event that I would have never went to, met a whole bunch of people at this event. One of the guys there is connected to Naval. I'm not like aiming to meet Naval, but like there might be a potential where I meet Naval because now me and that guy is going to be hanging out. It's just Naval. Look him up. He's like a multimillionaire. Um, he's like a angel investor, a multimillionaire. He started Angel List, the website. He's like, that dude is brilliant. Naval Ravikant. I'm pretty sure you've seen him before. I think he's one of the greatest thinkers of today. Yep, he's the founder of that. So yeah, dude's a multimillionaire. And this is all because I met somebody on Twitter Spaces that I then met in real life. When I met him in real life, I barely spoke to him. I spoke to other people there more than him, and happened to speak to somebody who's connected to Naval. And now we're hanging out when I leave here and go back to Philly. Crazy. So my thing is just go find the things that you like. What are your interests? Follow that, meet new people, and then when you meet those new people in the things that you're interested in, you just talk about what you're working on. And when you talk about what you're working on, like right now, for example, with me in this content creation stuff, it's hard to describe what I'm working on because I don't have like I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. So it's like to a degree, I could just say I'm a content creator and I'm trying to and I'm gonna like take my videos to the next level and stuff like that. Again, I've been lazy. I don't edit any of my videos these days, and that's because I really don't like editing. But I'm going to take my videos to the next level pretty soon on the topics that I'm interested in. And I could say that, yeah, I'm a small content creator, I guess, you know. But ultimately, if I was to make another product again, it probably would be some type of course, and it probably would be a persuasion course because I just think like if you learn persuasion, then honestly, all of these challenges that you have, even with growing your business and thinking about all this stuff, just goes away. Because if you know how to persuade people in person, you have so much more success in life. It's actually insane. And if you learn MBTI, that enhances your ability to persuade even more. Yo, have you been watching? Have you guys been watching my content recently? If so, curious to know your thoughts on it. Um, I feel like I know everybody misses the marketing content I used to create, but I think we're coming to an end of an era with that one. I mean, if I was to make that type of content again, I'm curious to know what you guys would want to see if I was to do it. I just feel like my audience too has just changed. People wanted to get jobs before. Now the same people that wanted to get jobs are now different. They got the job and now they're struggling with new things. Like Ricardo, what he just said earlier. He's looking for a company that isn't toxic or do employee monitoring on their equipment. And honestly, that's also why they say cherish the good companies that you work at. There was only 2 good companies that I've been doing digital marketing for 10 years. There's only been 2 companies that I've worked at that was really good. And I've job hopped a lot, a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've left jobs s- so many times, but a lot of the times when I leave the job, it's because I just find how people are doing things to be stupid. I don't like how they're doing it. There's literally only been 2 companies that I've worked at that I genuinely liked. I don't I don't like busy work. I like real problem solving, creative work. I don't like just doing things because, "Oh, like, we gotta meet this deadline for this client." Like, no. It's just gonna be impactful to the business and what they want because it's gonna challenge me to grow. If I'm just doing something like, "Okay, we're just gonna do this keyword research, we're just gonna do this competitor analysis, we're just gonna do this one thing," and there's no, like, deeper thought into, like, the strategy of what I'm doing, I get bored. Like, I like being challenged, but not in a way that's stupid. Like, being challenged doesn't mean give me 50 clients to work on all at once. That's not what I mean. I mean, give me something meaningful to do. That's what I care about. Yo, yo, yeah, y'all still with me? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Comment in the chat if you still here. And tell me what y'all doing right now. I'm curious. Yo, what you up to right now, bro? Yo, what are you interested in? What other types of content do you watch on YouTube? That's dope. Where you got any specific places that you want to travel to? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Turks and Caicos. I feel you, brother. Yeah, man. Well, I hope you stick around for my new content that I'm going to be creating. It's going to be way, way, way different. Um, and yeah, maybe I'll try to like weave some marketing stuff into it. But anyways, man, I'm gonna hop off of this. It's great seeing you again. I want to do more live streams like this as well. Um, but yeah, I'll catch you later, bro. Peace.